Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here, and I'm super excited. We got a wonderful Monday ahead of us. We're going to be reviewing Star Trek, the animated series. We are currently on episode number 7, The Infinite Vulcan. And I know my co host Jill is usually here, but she will be along in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, we have the wonderful Scotty R37. How are you doing, Scotty?
I'm doing very well, and this episode was jam packed.
Yes, definitely not boring, right?
Not at all. Like I thought it was. Oh heavens! The ideas behind it, the intelligent plants, having Sulu being featured in an episode, which is the first in 7 episodes, because Sulu hasn't necessarily been in the forefront recently on the animated series. We get more Uhura as the computer, or Nichelle Nichols, pardon me.
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
And yeah, and more lovely voice acting by James Doohan as Catecholis, whatever his name is.
Well, I was looking at caticulize. There's two
Catecholis?
there's two pronunciations. There's caticules, I believe, is it, but then William Shatner is the only one that pronounces with an I, caticulize. They said because he did his segment separate from the other actors. So once they edited it together, if anybody's wondering why William Shatner has a different pronunciation for the character's name, that's the reason why.
Well, Shatner's pronunciation is always something of a joyous mispronunciation.
Oh, it always is. I know Gorilla's in the back room. Gorilla, there we go. There he is.
Ahoy!
Hello, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. There you are. Good to see you, sir.
Hey there. You
It
guys can
sounds
hear
like
me
you're
all right?
broadcasting outside of a radio tower.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that there's a little bit of magnetic reverb.
Yeah, we're getting a buzz, and your audio is not very loud. We can barely hear you. But there's like a
Thank you,
buzz.
thank you, pop culture, for using English. Damn,
My
I was hoping
mistake. My mistake.
Alrighty, let's try this.
That is better. Now we hear you loud and clear.
You sound
Is that better?
fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, much
Alrighty.
better. Welcome, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good.
All right. How was work?
Apparently I have a problem with. Apparently my boss says I'm PMSing.
Well, who isn't?
Well, yeah, right. Don't we all usually at some point? And it looks like we have Antiderivative Jill here. Hello, Jill. How are you doing?
Oh,
Hello.
Hi
hey,
there, Jill.
Hey. How are you guys doing?
I'm
Great, Jill.
okay.
We just got
Good.
started. I was just saying hello. In fact, I'm doing it now. Hello to everybody in the chat. I know Hungry Boy is here. He was a little early, and I appreciate that. And we have Gorilla along. And we were just introducing everyone to the people in the chat. So now we have Antiderivative Jill. And thank you for joining us, Jill. By the
You're
way,
welcome.
I haven't given out any notes about this episode yet because I wasn't sure what you were going to bring up. So I'm going to let you say what you have to say or any background information. And then if I hear anything or if I don't hear any certain things that I can bring up, I'll add it in.
Great. That's a good
Um,
idea.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Well,
I don't have any clips this week or slides because this was a tight episode. There wasn't that many mistakes. I only saw one animation frame that was kind of out of place, and I thought, no
I
sense in
know. I
doing
think I know which one you're talking about. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to it.
that.
I
There you
saw
are.
two. I saw
Two.
two.
There.
This episode reminded me of a trip that you take on acid, and then your weed would start talking to you.
Well,
And
this
I've
is
been there.
this is kind of a silly episode. This one, it kind of makes you feel like it's Saturday. This one feels like a Saturday morning cartoon.
This is, you know what? When I think of Star Trek the Animated Series, this is the kind of ridiculousness that I think of.
Pop culture hungry says you're a little low.
Okay, I can boost my audio.
Yeah, it
So
says you're can barely hear you.
I think you sound
Test,
okay,
test,
but
test,
maybe
test. Hopefully this is a little bit better. I turned it up and boosted a little higher.
Yeah. Like on Ryan's stream earlier today, the gal he had on, like I could barely hear her, but he said she sounded just fine in StreamYards.
Oh,
Well,
right.
I
Okay, so you might sound good in StreamYard, but not so much to the audience. Good
Yeah.
point.
right, and I appreciate you letting me know, guys, because this is my only way to find out, and I don't want to be over here talking to myself.
Yep. He says it's better.
Okay, great. Well, for anything that I have in terms of production notes, I cite the official guide to the animated series. And the idea to use that text comes from R.M. Briggs. And you can find her on the Cloudburn Times channel. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to his channel and also read Raquel's amazing science fiction short stories. And this episode is called The Infinite Vulcan. It first aired on October 20th, 1973. It was written by Walter Koenig and directed by Hal Sutherland.
First things first, if I may. Uh, Walter Koenig's last name is pronounced Koenig.
Koenig.
Yeah, he pronounced it
Thank you.
Koenig.
Koenig. Excuse me. Koenig.
Just for the
Koenig.
record. Just for the record is all.
Right, and decay pronounced his decay. I don't know.
You know what? I appreciate that, Scotty, because I only read things, and so
For the
I-
longest time, I thought it was Koenig, but it is
Mm.
Koenig.
thank you.
Hmm.
Koenig. So he asked Gene Roddenberry's assistant, Susan Sackett, to edit it. So she's obviously from the original series. And with that, Koenig became the first Star Trek actor to write an episode of Star Trek.
Wow.
Right, she passed it on to Gene Roddenberry, basically said, "Here, this is pretty good. You should check it out."
About it, the book and Dorothy Fontana says, Walter delivered very well for a new TV writer, Dorothy Fontana explained. He introduced the idea of cloning and later the idea of a 50-foot tall Spock. It was a fun idea, and he developed it well over a story outline and 5 script drafts. The ultimate episode was a good one and explored new scientific ideas of cloning that were just being talked about. Both Gene and I were delighted we could give Walter an opportunity to work on the show, as we were unable to include him in the cast. His intelligence and talent were noticed, and that was a good feeling. And Walter did try to put Chekhov in this episode, but he was told that the budget still wouldn't allow for it. But I find it hard to believe that they couldn't spring for it for just one episode. Come on.
Well, I read that when he wrote it, he was. It was before they told him he wasn't going to be part of the show. So when he wrote it, it was in mind. He thought he was going to be in the
He could write
episode.
himself in. Right, because I mean,
Well, no.
he's writing it anyway. Why
Well,
not let him
originally he
just
wasn't in
freaking
one of
be in
the.
it?
Originally he was in one of the original drafts, but he had to give his line to other characters.
Yeah, I heard somewhere. I'm not in the book, so it's not. I don't know.
Right, and
That
also,
he gave it to Sulu. In
But
Right.
it is
Yeah,
evident in the story itself that he sort of put Sulu at the forefront of the show.
yeah, I think that was going to be some of his lines that he gave Sulu, and George Takei did thank him for having a larger role, for allowing him to have a larger role because of it. But apparently, Walter Koenig, the way he found out he was not cast was at a convention he was attending. He heard another person bring it up, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
Was Walter Koenig ever in a Columbo?
That's
I
for
don't
you,
think
no.
so. I'm a big fan of Columbo, and not that I remember. I know the William Shatner,
Yep.
and I don't think Leonard Nimoy was, but
No,
I don't
Leonard
remember
Nimoy
seeing it.
was. He was.
It was
Yep.
as the main antagonist.
Yep.
Okay, probably one of the older.
You know what?
Original series.
I think Walter Koenig was in a Columbo, but I think he played a cop.
Wait, he was a cop. You're right. He was a cop. Yes. So yes. Thank you. As soon as you said that, it kind of triggered my memory.
This is going to be a walk down Walter Koenig memory lane this evening, I think, because I think we all have an appreciation for Chekhov.
Yes,
Right,
I like
and he's a brilliant man, and he's very smart. So this led to his writing career. So this was his step in the door. And another thing too, by the way, is they enjoyed it, and they asked him if he'd write another episode, and he flat out refused.
Yeah.
He didn't like all the rewrites and Gene Roddenberry inserting his own material into it, apparently, which is a story we hear very often, right?
Yeah, but that happens all the
13,
time.
Yes, it does.
13 drafts.
Yeah, I heard 13 too.
13. Oh,
Yes.
this one said 5, but I guess that was just part of the
Hail,
everything.
Captain Finity.
Hi, Captain Finity.
Hey, Finity.
Right. I heard when I heard other observers talking about how many drafts, it was a varying number. But then when I read Koenig's, he said 13. So I'm going to trust what he said.
True. Mhm.
Delicious.
And by the way, everybody, I wanted to remind everybody that when we kind of get going and talking here, we may not get a chance to answer everybody in the chat. I usually try to at least address everybody. And if we're not able to address your question or your statement or your comment, I will post it in the panel like I'm doing Captain Infinities right now. So I want to make sure that nobody is forgotten because without the chat, we would not be here. And I appreciate everyone being here. So thank you for your patience. But we will try to answer any kind of questions or anything related to this episode.
Yes, thank you to the chat, lurkers, and anyone listening on the replay. And so Walter did. Right. On writing this episode, Koenig was inspired by a newspaper article on cloning. The book says at that point, humanity was just 2 short years away from scientist J. Derek Bromhall's successful cloning of a mammalian embryo. Once again, Star Trek was at the forefront of the important societal questions, and this time it was introducing the idea to younger viewers who would see a sheep cloned 20 years later.
Dolly.
Yep, that's right. So I'll start with the captain's log. Stardate 5554.4. The Enterprise has been ordered to survey a new planet recently discovered at the periphery of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the opening log, and we cut straight to a new planet. Philos. Philos? Is it Philos or Philos?
I think it's Philos. Philos?
Philos.
Philos.
You know what? I think you're right. Philos.
I don't know. I picked 2.
I
Okay,
thought
we're
they
just
said
gonna.
Philos, but I could be wrong.
Was it
I thought it was Philos.
Well, they call them the Philosians. So
They are.
Philosian. Philos. Okay, well, we'll just go with Philos.
all right.
Whatever.
Sorry, guys.
I'm
Philos?
I should have rewatched for that. I don't remember.
Have you not seen this episode?
I did. I watched it today.
Okay, me
And I
too.
feel terrible. I have to admit, I was so busy having work done on my car that I made the mistake of watching this on my phone. So that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I wasn't able to see as much detail as usual. But I did watch
Oh!
the entire thing.
Well,
All
but
right.
that's okay. Well, I'm here, so it's all good.
Yes, I'll always rely on Jill.
So we have a world here that has both the rocky terrain and a significant amount of vegetation. And so life ratings are confused. And Sulu picks up he picks up this little purple plant.
I do agree, Hungry Boy, purple and violet in the background art. I know it is kind of odd colors, but I think the detail really stands out for itself. I like the background and the design of the planet. Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
Would you touch that?
No.
Okay.
Well, from here we can't tell. Is it thorns or is it like fuzzy? Because
Yeah. Well, this is the scene here that shows that Starfleet officers are dumbasses. Because how many Starfleet
No,
officers?
not all of them, just Sulu.
Well, no. I'm
this
talking.
is also this harkens back to Sulu's interest in plants and botany from the original TOS episode.
I did like that. I did like his botany being brought back.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Can I finish
That's
my
a good point.
sentence?
So maybe that's why he was a little over eager. Because we all agree he should not have picked it up, it being a strange native plant, right?
Oh my.
Well, can I finish my sentence?
Yes. Sorry. Go ahead, Gorilla.
I was saying this proves this is along the lines of Starfleet officers are dumbasses. Because how many episodes do we see this where they get hurt by the native plant life because they touched it?
Well, I've seen Shades of Grey.
Well, I can remember like 6 episodes just from the original series, probably.
Well, sometimes it doesn't even require them to touch it. You remember on some of the episodes they shot spores.
Yes.
Yeah, but they weren't careful. They just decided to walk right past the plants without doing any kind of precautionary work.
Well, and now we have Sulu willy-nilly picking up little puffballs of poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You really shouldn't be, they touch all sorts of things they shouldn't be touching.
Don't touch it.
This little purple plant is called a retlaw, which
I
is
bet it
significant
is.
because that is Walter spelled backwards. calling to the author of the episode being Walter Koenig.
Yay. It's cute to you. Fine, get poisoned,
Right,
hungry.
and I think Sulu felt a little attached because he thought it was following him around. Scott in this.
And
Yeah, I love the artwork here. They're very, very aliens. These was examples of things they could not have done on
Oh,
the original series.
oh,
Oh,
you missed the scene where Sulu miraculously gets healed.
no, I didn't miss it. It comes after the scene. In this scene, they talk about how the force field is being generated to protect the
Oh, I
area
thought they were
or
still
something.
outside.
They go back outside.
Okay.
They do when they hear Sulu cry out.
now hang on a second. Look at that butt.
So
That is a clenched butt.
So you must be an ass man there, Scotty, huh?
Well, only when it comes to George Takei. Even in animated form, I will say, look at that butt. Damn fine butt design.
oh my.
Jill doesn't
Precisely.
even know. Jill doesn't.
So even though McCoy can't decipher what type of poison it is, he can nonetheless determine that Sulu has a minute to live. He discovers that dilovine would take too long to work. That's the dilovine.
Yeah.
And the
I
sound
didn't,
effect, it doesn't have a hissing sound like it did in TOS.
yeah, I didn't look it up to see if that's some kind of real medicine. I meant to. Yeah, it is. Dilovine is a broad spectrum antitoxin. Oh, wait, for Starfleet. It's a Starfleet thing.
That's okay.
I don't know if it's a real thing.
But
You can
also,
use
Dilovine in the TOS is the same as what was that medicine that Crusher always used?
tricordrazine.
Oh man.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That started with an A.
Okay, so it's not real. It's a Star Trek drug. Okay.
I
gotcha.
thought it was always tricordrazine. Anyway, I just before you move on, I want to say I really enjoy the sort of adherence to the classic design of the hypospray. Like that is what a hypospray looks like from the original series. And this is something that I noticed throughout this episode is like the tricorder, the communicator, even the Type 1 phaser. Like this is so within the technology that you have become accustomed to. Sometimes when you're watching an animated show, they take freaky deaky design choices, but this is actually adhering to it, and I like it.
Hey,
I think,
Scotty,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Gorilla.
Scotty, you're close as inaprobaline.
Oh, that one, yeah, though that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Gene Roddenberry would have made sure they stuck to some of these basics. But the only thing I sorely miss, which I have to admit, is some of the sound effects aren't the same. The tricorder has a different sound effect. The hypo spray doesn't have the hiss sound that it did. But
Well,
that's
and
just nitpicking.
sometimes Nichelle Nichols voices the ship's computer.
Well, no, I know, but I'm a huge fan of the sound effects of the original series. Would have
Me
been
too.
nice. Go ahead, Jill. Your
Yeah.
turn. Take it, Jill.
And also Dorothy Fontana is also there to keep things in order because she's essentially showrunner. And so
Yes, that is true. And if I
and
may, hungry to see Johnny Storm be funny again, says there's a lot of superior foreshadowing perspective in the figure work in this episode. I completely agree. Thank you, Jill.
nice. So large asparagus looking intelligent plant aliens appear.
This is your
Yes.
acid trip gone bad when you think your weeds come alive.
This
This
was
is
Gene Roddenberry's insistent. Walter Koenig did not want talking vegetables, but Gene Roddenberry insisted on it. And
plant
and
life,
and
not vegetables.
well, Gene Roddenberry said vegetables, but anyway, Koenig said it wasn't worth the fight, so he just gave up and wrote it in the script. But originally, they were not going to have talking plants. And in fact, Roddenberry referred to asparagus,
Yep.
but at least
And
they gave him 4 legs, so that kind of gave him a little different than humans.
that's true. They do walk differently. They're called phylogenians. And
Phylogenians.
phylogenians.
Because of phytoplankton.
Or maybe phylogenians. Well, okay, if it's phytoplankton, then we should be calling phylogenians. I don't know. Led by Agmar, who
This
hails
is the silliest episode of anything I've ever seen.
Oh,
who
this
ha-
reminds me of a
Mhm.
Lost in Space episode, basically kind of similar to this, where it's talking plants. That's why I thought it was odd that Gene Roddenberry, he must not have been aware of that Lost in Space episode because that was rated as one of their worst.
Asparaguses.
And the leader is Agmar here, and he hails Sulu with what Dr. McCoy calls some alien dewdrop. Dewdrop.
Well,
Right.
he's concerned about the antidote to
Not
the
being
poison.
tested, right? He
Right.
says, right, which is kind of reminds us of these days, right? But yeah, McCoy basically he's stubborn at first. Says, you're not going to just put anything that's not been tested. And oh, by the way, the object around the creature's neck is a universal translator. That's their form. So if you're
Yeah,
wondering
they're
what that is,
communicators. That's right.
Like we're early in here, guys, but like I'm putting this at like an 11 out of 5 on how silly I will take my Star Trek. This is the silliest thing I have ever seen. It is taxing on my suspension of disbelief, but I'm enjoying it because it is insane.
well,
It
they
is
definitely
fun.
it is. It's fun, and they definitely could not have done it in live action.
No, of course not.
It's absolutely insane. I believe. I agree completely, but I do like that McCoy does question this method of healing because this is a completely different species, completely different structure of life. So Spock determines that.
Well, and also,
Okay.
plant
Well,
cells
yeah.
do have like their cell structure are exactly like that. They're diamond-ish or whatever. Like so, the character design of the plant-based life form that is the shape of plant cells.
Well, that is
So
the shape,
yeah, of their cells.
but do they have the physiology to develop this kind of intelligence and
Well, for the
sentience?
sake of this conversation, yes.
I know that we have evidence that they react to external stimuli, but can they actually do this? I don't know.
Well, yes.
Okay,
Like, what do you want me to say? No.
I have no idea. I didn't go further than that. The
Anyway, that is plant cell structure is what I'm saying on that face.
uh-huh. This alien dewdrop worked quickly. Kirk wants to know what happened to the rest of the population. So the surviving Phylogenians show them a building lined with dead versions of their species.
Meanwhile, Sulu is hungover. Oh yeah, and then they get to see the entire like this is the
Graveyard.
generation past.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
the
is a
graveyard.
The catacombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spock makes this specific note on the plant's biology. He says, nerve tissue. Mass density is exceptionally high. Readings indicate the beings used almost 70% of their brains, a very high ratio. And these beings are dead because a human arrived and brought a Staphylococcus strain, which is the type of bacteria.
Monkeypox.
It caused a plague. Since the planet Velos has not been afflicted with it before.
And
They all
they did use the word pandemic.
Yeah, they did. Was it pandemic or epidemic? They called it a plague.
Isn't pandemic planet wide?
Yeah.
I could be
Anyway,
wrong. I'm not an expert.
so they all got monkeypox.
Okay, that distracted me just for a second. I
Why?
wanted
Do you
because
have monkeypox?
No, I do not.
Oh,
So that same
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It was a
And
question. I answered
and
it.
hungry. I completely agree with you. I love the art in this episode. I do agree. It is some of the best I've seen in this series.
Oh, absolutely. Like the painted background art in this show is great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know, why. I know a lot of people
I think we lost Gorilla. I
criticize
hope you
this
can make it back,
animation,
Gorilla.
but I think it's gorgeous.
I hope it wasn't something I said, Gorilla.
Hopefully, Gorilla's okay. Maybe technical issues.
Does
Yeah,
Gorilla have
or
monkeypox?
well,
He is
no,
a
but
gorilla.
that's true, and he does have children gorillas. So this the same so the same human that brought the plague also completed work which saved the remaining plant people from the disease that the human caused. And McCoy confirms that his scanners read some gram-positive bacteria, which in
Mm.
real life are bacteria with very thick cell walls.
Well, like plants.
Yeah, right. So then some purple pterodactyl-like plant creature shows up.
Why does that purple pterodactyl have a hairdo?
Right? They're plants. Why do they have hair? Well, I
Why
guess some plants
yeah.
are fuzzy
All right, I guess.
sometimes.
This is ridiculous.
Is that a
It
hairdo?
should be like flowers or something.
This is the first time like
Flowers.
I have been so happy to sort of discover, and you know what, not even rediscover, just discover Star Trek the Animated Series with you guys. And this is the first time that I watched it and I was like, I am so glad I'm stoned.
No, but this is the perfect one to watch, Stone. It's just so much fun. I can't even be mad at it because it's so cute.
Well, no, it's ridiculous and crazy, and we haven't even gotten to the most ridiculous and crazy. But anyway, here's some gyrospokic uh, legs with a crazy gargoyle.
Noodle legs. Welcome back, Gorilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome back. We're on the swoopers. They're called swoopers.
So anyway, they're shrieking.
So this is definitely a bad acid trip.
And hungry to see Johnny Storm is to be funny again says it's similar to meningococcal. I gotta zoom in, but for plants rather than mammals, meningococcal is a big
Like
problem here in
meningitis.
wombat. I
Well,
think
they
so.
they bring
Meningococcal.
no. Dr. McCoy brings up meningococcal in the episode. They do reference that.
You guys keep saying things that are not in the episode that they reference.
Well, the
Oh,
meningococcal.
okay. I could
You
be
didn't
wrong.
see the meningococcal?
Did they?
Yeah, they said
No,
it. Dr. McCoy did.
I can't. No, it's not. I have the
It
script
was
here.
right when he was going into the castle of.
So Jill, was I wrong about the reference to the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and this one too. He just
Feel
talks about
feel
the
feel free
other
to
because
correct
anytime there's a science thing, I pick it up.
feel free to correct us at any time, Jill.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
Except for
God.
me, I'm never wrong.
Okay. Yes, of course you're right.
Right. If I make any mistakes, it's not intentional, guys.
I apologize. This entire episode has gone off the rails, and I blame Walter Koenig.
I blame the swoopers. They're primitive, aggressive, and act purely on instinct.
Yeah.
The plant people are using them against the crew.
So you
And
guys
it's
aren't
at-
blaming me for being derailed?
No, Gorilla, you're fine.
No, you didn't point out Sulu's butt.
That was me. I did that.
It's at this point that Sulu realizes the phasers don't work, and Agmar confirms this is due to a nearby weapons deactivator. So the weapons don't work. No phasers.
Can you imagine how many times a weapons deactivator would come in handy on this show, right?
Yeah. Well, these plant creatures just have advanced technology beyond all other humanoid species. Pop
Yes.
culture.
But I agree. It's that big because they use that big part of their brain, I guess.
Exactly. And this stuff happens. The swoopers attack. And they're aggressive against the crew and wrap them all up.
I like
But
that shot of Bones springing into action. Sorry, go ahead.
It was just a distraction. It's all a distraction. I like all the expressions of terror. But all of it was just a distraction to kidnap Spock, and they carry him away.
Which, like, is this the moment that it turns into Spock's brain too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, the
Well,
gargoyles leave.
once again, they realize that Spock is the most popular character because like I've said before, there's a lot of episodes that are centered around him.
Kirk demands the Philosians tell him where Spock was taken.
And then he tries to make out with them, and then Calicus.
Caligula?
Yes.
Caliculus.
Caniculus?
Yeah,
Cuniculus.
cunnilingus.
I'll trust Jill's pronunciation. She's usually pretty good at that.
I'm not allowed to say that word again.
A giant a giant man appears, and all of the Philosians call him the Master, our
They're
savior.
super jazzed. Yeah, they love this guy.
But his name is really Dr. Stavros Caniculus.
Yes, he
yeah,
is.
he's a
Well,
scientist, but largely dressed like a Greek god, I guess.
Well, and also I kind of want to give credit to Walter Koenig in terms of the writing of this episode, in that this is the doctor who sort of followed Khan into space based on the eugenic wars, and he was searching the galaxy to find a perfect specimen. And then when he found himself, like, this is an interesting eugenics lore building episode. If you
I
are
agree. I agree.
like, I'm making fun of it because it's funny, but I do want to look at it and say, you know what, this is actually some pretty good, like what they did to Zephram Cochrane in that episode of the original series, when the cloud and the
Yes.
universal translator and all that. What was that called?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But yeah, the cloud that was basically could not live without him or was in love with him, I guess. Is how
Right,
they
right,
put
right,
it.
right. Yeah, the companion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
so
usually
I
pretty
like
good at remembering episodes, but right now my mind draws a blank.
Oh no, I can't. My brain, Swiss cheese. I've been through Quantum Leap. So, yeah, no, but this is really great in terms of sort of fleshing out what else was involved in the eugenics wars and the scientists that could go out into space and try and figure out how to make a better version of human.
It definitely makes sense that more than just Khan escaped and survived from that time period.
Yep, yep.
Right, and he did it because it was outlawed and banned on Earth.
Yep, yep.
He did.
Like cloning should be, in my opinion, but oh well, that's just an opinion.
And at this point, I want to insert Hungry's comment here. He says, "I like squiggly leg purple wyverns, not to be confused with dragons." And that's a joke for Captain Infinity.
Captain Infinity.
Mhm.
Never
In
heard of him.
In reference to these swoopers.
Meanwhile, at Nokia.
And so they're threatened. So they leave the area back aboard the Enterprise.
Indeed.
And so we get a new captain's log. Stardate 5554.8. 5554.8. We have come upon one of the most fascinating discoveries we have ever seen. Plant life of extraordinary intelligence and technology. However, they have captured Mr. Spock, apparently under the orders of a human named Caniculus. Lieutenant Uhura is trying to locate any reference to such a man in order to unravel the mystery of this giant human. So that was the captain's log, and not even the not
And
even
You got some excited action going on in the background.
yeah, I know. I muted it just for a second.
Jill, it doesn't bother us. You're fine. It's all good. If there's
Okay.
something you have to deal with, it's fine. But the noise and the little kids, no, I think it's cute.
I
Okay,
imagine them as being engineers.
they are.
They're
The
just like
engineers
working. Yeah, no, they're working controls and being like, we don't have the power.
engineers of destruction, maybe. Not even Enterprise sensors can find Spock on the planet, so the readings are being blocked somehow, and they can't even find Agmar or the other Phylosians. Only the planet's other creatures, like the swoopers. Sulu finds out that the phasers don't work on the planet either. The ship phasers. Right. I think I got a picture of the ship phasers. Sulu tries
He
to
does a
do.
thing.
He does that.
Ooh, 4 beams. Yeah, he said a wide dispersal of stun. Yeah.
So
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 instead of saying they have a force field, did he say barrier or what does he say according to the script? Because he said that it stopped like 300, was it 300 meters above the surface?
yes, it's some kind of force field.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So they have to save Spock manually or directly. And so Scotty's working on some special equipment. And McCoy explains that he had a great great grandpa whose recipe that they're going to use right now. And it later turns out to be some type of weed spray for Guardians,
Yeah.
just to save the suspense.
No, I know.
Uhura finds information on the computer about the leader on the planet. His name is Stavros Caniculus. He
And
was
he
an
looks like a guy who does sports for television in Los Angeles in 1973.
Ex football player.
Yeah, exactly.
a jock. He was an Earth scientist during the eugenics wars, so he's over 250 years old, and his
Hmm.
continued existence is because he keeps cloning himself into this giant form, using just a few cells at a time. And he referred to himself as Caniculus 5, so we know that there's been 5 clones.
Yeah.
And
Which means he's an abomination of man and God.
Caniculus planned to clone a perfect specimen prototype into a master race. And this extremely ridiculously stupid and scary and dangerous idea is
Like
supported
what?
by the plant people.
Why wouldn't you clone yourself into a better looking body? Like
Well,
that man is fugly.
he could only work with
Well,
the cell he had.
yeah,
I
that's all I was gonna say.
suppose.
Maybe he can just copy, but he can't manipulate.
All right, all right, all right. You know what? And I was weirded out by Sulu, which also kind of looks like Chekhov. I was weirded out by the fact that he was wearing the cross sash of 2 tricorders. I was like, is that an animation mistake? And it's like, nope, they meant that.
Yeah, they
See?
meant they did. Well, because he has the other device, the plant spray.
Yeah, he's got the plant spray.
Yeah. I agree,
Now,
Hungry.
you know what? When you say it that way, doesn't it sound a little weird?
This whole episode is a little weird.
It's a little weird. Anyway, they beam down.
They do beam down. But I'm out of slides. I gotta switch my slides.
All right. Well, they beam down, and, it's great. It all works out.
Yeah,
You
that-
think they'd be able to detect the transporter signal?
right. No transporter accidents in this episode.
None.
Right. Unfortunately, there's apparently their phaser can't get through the shield, but the transporter can. So that makes it handy.
Like, that's a lot of
Well,
algae.
well, actually, there was no shield on the planet itself. Well, oh, you're right. There was only a weapons deactivator.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's-
Did it deactivate the phaser shot from the ship, or did it block it?
I think it only blocks weaponry, not
Gotcha.
The longer we talk about this episode, the lower it goes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, so they
Go
have.
ahead, Jill.
Oh no. I got nervous with episode. So we find a hangar bay here. with lots of Philosian spaceships that
Yes.
they're going to use to migrate or invade, which we know essentially they're going to try to be peacekeepers.
It looks like they've been sitting there a long time.
Generation at least.
Yep.
You
And
know what? That particular slide looks like that they have boobies with hands coming out of their nipples.
That's different.
yeah, I didn't
Maybe.
consider that.
Well, I'm just saying, don't they look like they like? Never mind. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
It,
you're the
it was
one
an
that brought it up,
observation.
Scotty.
I know, but I'm just saying, doesn't it look like boobs with hands that are coming out of their nipples?
Yes. McCoy, McCoy says that he heard there was a modern Dionysus looking for the special specimen, and so I meant to look up who Dionysus is. He must be from
Must
Greek
be Greek.
mythology. Yeah,
Must
he is
be.
Greek. He's Greek. He's definitely Greek. He was a controversial figure.
Can you change the slide? I'm aroused.
Oh my god!
That's not better.
Hey,
I
there
am
you go,
I
Scotty.
am more I am more aroused.
Hey, Scotty, there's another pork pick for you.
I
What
can't
channel
help it.
did I join? This is the weirdest porn I've ever seen. So
Oh my god!
I
Yeah,
apologize,
Kurt,
pop culture. You can delete this entire episode.
oh,
Okay, so
okay, I'm making my mouth here. I was about to make a comment.
Come on, this entire episode is silly, and I am treating it as such.
And
okay,
hungry to see Johnny Storm be funny again. Says Dionysus is the
okay,
god of parties and drunks.
yeah.
Party on, dude.
Oh,
I
cool.
apologize. I am inebriated.
Okay, so Dionysus believed that people should live simple lives that reject all natural desires for wealth, power, or fame. And so I'm reading
Why
that from
kind of like,
ancientorigins.net.
why
kind of
is
like, kind
Captain
of like the
Kirk
Amish,
restraining the Philosian?
So he go, yeah, take that for Daddy. Take that for Daddy.
because they're trying to force him into telling them where Spock is.
All
Yeah,
right.
he's demanding Spock back, and he refuses. He says, the Vulcan human blend of wisdom, sense of order, durability, and strength is the finest the master has ever found. We are pleased Spock will carry on our work. And yeah.
Hail Dalek 451. Good to see you there.
Hi,
Hey,
Dalek
Dalek.
451.
Hey, Dalek.
Does this look like a screen grab from the Gamesters of Triskelion, or is it just me?
Just you.
Okay.
Hmm. And so that was the part that we found out, that the plant creatures and the giant Caniculus both had the same goals in mind. They wanted to create a master race to basically bring a police force into the galaxy to force people to be peaceful through,
Yeah, I thought
I
that
guess,
funny.
through
Force
violence.
people to be peaceful.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. I mean, I think I would call it terrorizing the galaxy. That's what they would end up
Control,
actually
right?
doing.
Yeah, control.
So I'm not sure he believes the Federation is peaceful, or or I don't know. I don't know that he wouldn't try this again, even given. I guess we'll continue, so I'll make more sense later.
Okay.
Anyway, Agmar then describes how there were already a dying population who had planned to migrate, but the disease decimated an already weak species. Their spores are destroyed, so they can't propagate as a result. And Agmar claims there will always be a master, but I've watched a lot of science fiction to know that if you make too many copies of a copy, that copy will degrade eventually and will die off. So that is the nature of us anyway, because our cells do the same thing. They make copies of ourselves our whole lives, and the cells eventually degrade until we grow old and pass away.
And that is true. I have cloned plants, so yes,
Mhm.
they're only good through so many different generations before they start showing problems. So it is true.
Yeah, and it makes sense for that same principle to be held up with the clones too. And I don't know how many iterations in the Star Trek universe will get out of the Master and Giant Spock, but it won't be infinite. But you know what? It's kind of mean to pick on this episode about that because, as Dorothy Fontana said, cloning was a very new technology at this time. But I'm picking on you.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
yes.
making them giants,
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
don't
got to
that
remember one
was
thing too,
silly.
right? You got to remember cloning was introduced, and this is the reason why Koenig wrote about the subject, is because they were doing it back then, like on the cellular level, on a very small scale. But now
Mhm.
with 2022, there's probably a lot going on that we don't know about.
Oh, I am a clone, just so you know.
um. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen your avatar. You have like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, no, I got so many. It's like the movie Multiplicity.
Hmm.
Anyway, so the
And
plants use the remote control to do what now?
he presses this control.
Yeah.
Um, because he's at least going to show them that Spock is safe, or at least his version of being safe. And the ground lowers them into a tunnel, which is lined with lead, and that's why the Enterprise sensors couldn't find Spock. The area goes dark, and we learn in this episode that those force field belts also have lights on them, but we don't get to see them being used because they aren't operational in this area.
Which has been well established throughout the episode that the technology is not functioning because they've been using dampening fields and whatnot.
Yeah, and the swoopers show up, and so they all run away to the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Meanwhile, in the
How?
mausoleum,
Here they find Spock in some kind of lab where Spock's in some kind of glass case or something. His knowledge
you
was
are Jill, you are one of the most detail oriented individuals when it comes to Star Trek
is
plots.
this
And I
too much
love,
is
no,
this too
I
much?
love the fact that you are just like, for some reason, Spock's in a glass case, whatever.
Okay, so it turns out that his knowledge was transferred into a new body, into Spock 2.
What if it's maybe like a life support system because of those glowing rods? I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh my
And so
God.
Spock 2 is very big. He's a
Look at
giant.
his junk.
So I'm not going to call him Spock 2. He's giant Spock.
Yeah, but can you see? Like, look at that. Like,
So the
does that.
landing party all put on masks.
I'm looking at his groin.
Hey,
Okay,
hey, Scotty,
fair enough.
Thank
if
you
you're
for
obsessed with
stopping.
Spock's junk like that, I got a movie for you. I should
Okay.
actually send you a bird's unviewed review of it.
Send me a link, please.
So the landing party all put on masks
Yes.
and use their weed spray on the plant
Yes.
creatures, and the
Yes.
mixture works. Oops. Okay, I need a minute.
Yeah. Well,
Go
as
for
does
it, Jill.
everyone, while you're spraying your primary villain with basically weed spray.
Right. I
Yes.
was kind of thinking, is it smart? They should have at least questioned, is it smart to release this stuff inside their atmosphere? You don't know what it could do or what kind of side effects it could have on the environment.
That's true too.
Right. We know that immediately they need to save Spock, and they're willing to do whatever it takes.
Yes, they
So
Okay.
don't know
then,
how many of the aliens are left. They could be killing the last of the species.
yeah,
Yep.
but like I said, their priority is to get Spock, and this is the only way to do it. So
True. Yeah, that's right. The priority is Spock, and so even in that case, they're doing what they need to do. Um, and the mixture works on the swoopers.
now they don't actually establish if the swoopers die. I think it just scares them. They just leave, right?
That's right. The swoopers don't die; they're just debilitated. As far as we can see, they're not shown to be dead.
Correct. So maybe that's not such a bad thing, which is good. That's a little smarter.
Hmm. But I don't know.
When you see them, they're covering their mouths. You think they could have brought some sort of masks?
No, they did have masks on. No, oh, those
Oh,
the
that's the two
giant
giants. That's right, the two
these are
giants.
the giants. The
That's
landing
right.
party had masks on.
Yes.
And Canicula admits here that he can duplicate the physiological structure, but not what is learned. So he had to transfer Spock's knowledge into giant Spock.
What's on Spock's face?
He's wearing a
Uh,
mask.
yes.
Okay. So they put
He's
a
wearing a
mask on.
mask.
They
Yeah,
put a
they
mask on
put a
his
mask
body.
on him.
That's good. They thought of that.
hmm And right now, giant Spock is of no use because he's still trying to acclimate all of his new knowledge.
Well, yeah, he is presented as being sort of between worlds. He's just acclimating the knowledge that he was given. And also, why okay, there you go. There's another one of those classic animated series Star Trek shots where you get to see Uhura's knees above the console.
hmm
Yeah, and the camera looks like it's lower, looking up, but yet
Like,
Scotty's
who
head's at
knows
the
what
level of
this
the
is?
camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
They're
well.
trying to get the upskirt shot without getting it.
Yes.
Well, and Hungry Boy says, well drawn fists and hands in this episode, more than others, to be fair and serious for a
Oh,
moment.
that's a very good point. Thank you.
Indeed.
So Uhura can't get through to communicate with the captain, so Scotty redirects all the power they can into the effort, which alarms Uhura. She says, Mr. Scott, you're risking a total drain of our dilithium crystals. To maintain communications, we would have to burn our reserves, all our reserves. But Scotty says they have to do it. They have to communicate.
Yeah.
Right.
Scotty, I
There's
put
nobody
the link
else on the
for you
ship,
in
so
the chat.
Uhura gets the lines. Right. There's nobody else on the ship, so Uhura gets these lines. Pretty much
I'm
the
happy
panic
for it.
lines. It would be a different character. Well, so am I. So am I. That's another thing that Kanye pretty much gave them all larger roles in this, so that's a good thing.
hmm
I guess
Yeah.
it came from somebody who understood what it was like to be a bit actor on the show.
Yeah. Scotty, you see that? I put the link in for you for that video.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. So finally, Spock knows what's going on. So Kirk tries to appeal with his logic, starting with, why let someone die just to make a duplicate, a giant duplicate? And Canicula comes up with his creepy, scary eugenics argument that is to start a master race for for peacekeeping and everything.
Right, and I was wondering, they don't really explain why they make the clones giant, right? Because you think giant would use up a lot more resources, but
Well, they gotta compensate for something.
okay,
Yeah, where
okay.
did they get all this biological material? Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
And and Uhura finally makes it through, and Kirk wants Giant Spock to answer it.
I like that shot right there. That's cool.
And Uhura says, I had the library computer check out all known writings by Caniculus. They are obscure, but there is a recurring theme in his later essays about using his master race as a peacekeeping force throughout the galaxy.
I have a question for you guys as far as
Okay.
production question. Okay, the two giants, in your opinion, and in my opinion, it would have been nice, I think, if the audio, if they would have added a little bit of reverberation to make them sound like they were giants, a little more a hollow, like an echoing reverberation of some sort. Or do you guys disagree? Do you think it was fine?
I think you have a point. I think it would have been better if he had some reverberations. Yeah. Like being giant Spock. That would have
I
been
agree.
cool.
Yeah,
A little
there would
louder,
be a
maybe.
difference.
Yeah.
I am Spock. Kind of thing.
Yeah, it didn't have to be too much. Just an octave lower would have done well enough.
Okay.
Well, and you know what? I want some Cybok. I want Cybok in the animated series.
Cybok. Well, but we don't get
I'll
Cybok until after
yeah,
the movie.
I'll pass on that. I think he's one of my least liked characters in Star
You
Trek.
don't like Cyborg? Okay, hang on a second before we get into Cyborg, because I know
Well,
that's a controversial topic. But
Sorry.
yeah, I know.
check out Captain Kirk's shirt. He's got like a gold collar. That is crazy to me.
Mhm.
Like, what is he even doing?
Well, he's got his hands on his hips. So that
Well,
means he definitely
we
means
should
business.
probably avoid talk about Star Trek 5 because that could get pretty deep.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's great. It's my
Yeah,
favorite.
it is great. Anyway,
Well,
I'll
Come
not talk
on.
about how I think most of Star Trek 5 is a dream.
Jill, are you a Star Trek 5 fan?
I Yes, in terms that I think that everything not in Yosemite is Captain Kirk's dream. It is a theory that I heard from Doomcock, and I like it a lot.
I would
It
love
makes
to
the whole
talk about it
movie
with you.
make sense.
Anyway, we are talking about the Infinite Vulcan.
well, I
Talk
will
Hey,
about it,
disclose.
Friday?
I will
I got a
disclose
better
something.
theory for you, Jill.
Okay.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
the better theory is that McCoy was lying about it being whiskey as a special ingredient, and the real ingredient was shrooms.
It was shrooms.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's cool.
But I will be candid. One of them, and this is sort of biased. The reason why I do not like Cyberbox so much
Hmm.
is it has to do with the actor. I despise the actor,
I
so that
think it
doesn't
was
help when
supposed
it
to
has
be
a
a different
character.
actor.
Well, yeah, they originally wanted Sean Connery, but he was busy doing a Highlander 2, The Quickening.
No,
That
he
would have
was
been
making
cool.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Well, somewhere around there, but it was written for Sean Connery.
He was too busy being
Yeah,
Indy's dad.
Sean Connery would never be in a Star Trek movie.
But I don't like Lawrence Luckenbill, the guy who played Cyborg. So that
I like him.
on top of not liking the Cyborg character, not liking the actor, that just kind of was double time for me. I just
All right.
yeah, sorry. No offense out there, anybody who's if he's your dad or your
He's
son or
my
whatever.
dad.
Well, then you'd be rich because he married Lucy's daughter, and that's where he's getting all his money at.
Lucy Liu?
Lucy Ball.
Oh.
Yeah, Lucille Ball was his mother-in-law,
Oh,
and
wow. That's advantageous.
he married Lucy Arnaz, and they're happily spending all her money and fortune. They're wasting it away. Sad to say.
That's what I would do.
Well, if you got the money, spend it, I guess, right?
Well, and especially if it's not mine.
Oh yeah, she just bought a brand new
Well, might as
multi-million
well get
dollar.
rid of it.
Well,
Hopefully
if
before
I
being
can't
it was-
believe we're having this conversation while I'm looking at Captain Kirk looking up at a giant.
Okay, anyway, we need to get back to the show. Well, that's a theme for another day. Go
No,
ahead, Jill. Sorry.
I know. No, it's okay. It was kind of fun.
Look at his thighs.
Great. Pretty powerful. So, Kirk
That
explained-
man flexes.
And this is where Kirk is saying, "You do have underwear on under that, don't you?"
And he says no.
What would be the point?
Yeah. Kirk explains to Caniculus that the Federation has largely achieved peace, the peace he was striving for, which was the aim and the goal that the Philosians wanted exactly. And that's why they go along with him. They both wanted to create master races to impose the peace force, which is a dangerous mentality to just leave without any kind of Federation investigation. So that part is a bit disturbing. And that's, of course, just asking for another, kind of Wrath of Khan situation to happen. Because this
Oh my
kind of
God.
zealotry doesn't just die off.
Look at how long their nipples are.
God, for the love of God, Scotty,
Well,
they're
that's their
not nipples.
appendages. They need them long because that's their appendages.
I guess.
Yeah, those are their arms.
Well, and their eyes are all crazy.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like a crab. They have eyes like a crab, right?
Well, I guess.
Yes. That's why, even if Caniculus doesn't believe Kirk about the peace, the key to this episode is appealing to Giant Spock. Kirk reminds Giant Spock about IDIC, infinite diversity.
Yes. I know. As soon as you put this slide up, I was like, "Show me what you got."
Okay, you're making me laugh too much, Scotty. Okay, in infinite combinations, and
Yes.
asks if peace by force inflicted on another species was in line with IDIC. And that's all Spock needed to hear. He just needed to be reminded about that.
True.
And furious about that, Caniculus destroys the machine that would transfer the knowledge back to the original Spock. And Sulu gets a little fight here. He gets a little fight scene.
Yes, and he does some like really cool judo switch turn.
Yeah, I think it's like judo.
Yeah, let's look at it again.
Bingo.
And furious at this, well, he's just furious.
He's really angry.
So luckily, Giant Spock realizes that he can do a mind meld with Spock to transfer the knowledge, and somehow this questionable neurological transfer works.
Hey, this is where this show episode gets an F. Because Sulu did not call it a mind meld.
He called it a mind touch. What's
I think.
the
Well,
difference?
I think he said that because he used the tip of his finger, perhaps,
True.
Yeah,
rather than a whole hand.
they wrecked the whole thing there. It's an F.
Okay.
Because
Yes,
of
they
different
wrecked
terminology.
the whole thing.
You wouldn't like
you're right.
reading Star Trek
You're-
comics. They get
you're
all
right,
the
Gorilla.
terminology wrong.
But you are right, Gorilla. It should be mind meld.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, right?
Maybe
That's
Sulu's not exactly
Your
all
opinion
that
is
well
welcome.
versed in, the telepathic connection that Vulcans have.
But we appreciate your opinion, Gorilla.
Oh, totes. No, I agree with Gorilla while also trying to explain why. I don't know. Like, you're right. I just also forgive it.
Me too. I know you can transfer some things through a mind meld, but all of the knowledge of a mind, transferring all of that knowledge, feels like it's unprecedented until this one, except for until we get to Wrath of Khan when we learn about the Katra, or rather Spock 3. But that's later, so this starts the idea of that, sort of. Except this is more of a duplication of knowledge. It's weird. Anything to do with neurology or brain stuff.
Oh, I don't see this episode as being canon. I jettison this episode. This is too silly.
I think Gene Roddenberry agrees with you.
Plant people,
Whatever.
giant Spock? No.
So, although I think that this species should be investigated by the Federation, Giant Spock says that he will be sure that there will be no master race or any accompanying militia. Instead, they will figure out another way to restart the Felosian civilization. But we don't get any indication on how this will be possible with all their spores destroyed.
Like, who made the giant uniform? Like, those boots. Who made those?
Yeah. You know,
Like,
and I was thinking,
they cloned Spock, but who made the clothes?
maybe they have a giant seamstress.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What I was thinking is this clone of Spock, the giant Spock, big Spock, whatever, supposedly has Spock's memory, which means wouldn't he miss his family and his life? Because he
No
agreed
rank
to
on
stay
his
the
cuff
planet.
there either.
Hey, that's an emotion there, and he suppresses his emotions.
Giant
still
Spock
half
was
human.
just made, so he's still half human, so he hasn't chosen. Giant Spock has not chosen whether to be Vulcan or human yet,
Right.
like
and
the regular Spock has.
Right, and he hasn't done the Katra yet.
Kolinar.
Yes, Kolinar. Sorry,
Oh, no apology
I
necessary.
was
this-
thinking. I was thinking of the mind transference, or
Yeah.
I got the wrong word.
This Spock hasn't done Kolinar yet either.
True.
Oh wait, yes he has.
No, he
Wait,
hasn't.
no, he hasn't. Yeah, he does it later.
Right,
later
the
in
motion
79.
picture, right.
Yes, yeah, the
It's
motion
okay. It's not a quiz.
This is a quiz. All of it. It's always a quiz. Okay.
It's not Jeopardy.
It is. So I had it right the first time, and then I messed up. Okay, so
Hey, Jill, have you ever read the book Spock's World?
not yet, but we're going to, and it's going to be so much fun.
It's
But
gonna be
anyway-
really fun. Moving on.
Anyway, I had here that Kirk says, "By the way, Mr. Sulu, any chance of teaching me that body throw could come in handy sometime."
Right.
Meanwhile, Spock is giving the Vulcan salute to Giant Spock.
It's silly.
And Sulu says, I don't know, sir. It isn't just physical, you know. You have to be inscrutable. Inscrutable? Sulu, you're the most scrutable man I know.
I don't. Okay, two things.
Well, first, before you
Give it
go on,
away.
I want to pronounce the spelling. It's Scrutibl, or anyway. It's not what you guys are thinking, especially with that look on
But
Sulu's face.
what does inscrutable mean?
Learn that you're able to learn something. The opposite would be not being able to learn.
Oh, okay.
Scrutable means learning. Inscrutable means unable to learn. Kind of like a
Oh,
tooth.
and then Sulu gives a wink because we're all
Right.
supposed to find this funny, but the joke itself doesn't make sense.
It's
Right.
just the wink. That's funny. That's it.
Yeah. It's not. It's screwed with a T, not screwed with a D.
No, 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 no. I understand how to spell it. Yes.
You know.
Anyway, it's a very strange situation. The denouement to the episode was what it was.
Hmm.
And this is when we get
It's
the actual wink at the camera. That common phrase we often hear. They physically actually do it here in this episode. Oh, Jill, did you mention we get to hear Beam us up, Scotty, in this episode?
we
I
do.
did not mention it, so you just did. Very good.
And we did not
Science.
get he's dead, Jim.
Oh, I
No.
better go buy a lottery ticket.
Excuse
Well,
me.
I will.
Yeah, because we didn't get a he's dead, Jim.
Yeah. So,
So
as much as,
so
oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just wondering if anybody had any aversion to me rating this episode.
No, we're all going to rate the episode.
Okay.
Right. Feel
Can
free
I
to
go
rate it
first?
anytime. Sure.
Okay.
3.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
3. Oh my God.
And for those of you in the chat,
God.
if you'd like to rate this episode, I put a poll in there. If you'd like to vote.
I don't think it's that bad. Oh my God.
Yes, I know. There is a crime happening in your place of residence.
Give
Let
me
that
just
be
a
their
moment.
last battlefield.
I'll let someone else rate while I
go
close
for
the
it, Jill.
door at least.
Go for it, Jill.
It was so silly. It was so ridiculously silly. I could not take it seriously. I think everything about this episode was great for a cartoon, but when I want to show someone a parody of Star Trek, this is the episode I would show. I do not call it negative towards Walter Koenig. I think that the entire endeavor of the animated series of Star Trek is glorious, and I've been enjoying watching all of it. But this episode was so dumb that I had to laugh, and I don't even think it's kind of boring
No,
while also being action packed. Like, I
yeah.
don't know. It's insane. I don't like it. I like
You
it,
don't.
but I don't.
You don't like it. No, you gave it an F, basically.
I gave it an F minus.
You did. I don't give it. I
So
don't rate it that low. You know,
it's just too
because
silly.
I love Chekhov, and it's silly, but it's not silly too badly. I mean, there are lots of things I question in terms of. Oh,
But
I never clicked on the grade. I was gonna grade. Oh well.
but after the
I'm sorry,
and
Jill.
you know what? When I rated it, I
I was
rated
like,
it a
where's the
B
grading?
minus. But after watching it and talking about it, I'm sorry. It's so no.
I'm sorry, Jill.
Wait. Was it a B at some point?
It was a B minus,
Oh, but everything I
and then
said degraded
it
your.
became like a Q level no.
For me, when I nitpick it makes me feel better about the episode. But when I do that, it makes you feel worse about it.
I just realized how absolutely dumb
It's pretty ridiculous, yeah.
it
But
is.
God,
Oh
you're making
my
her feel bad now. You might make
But
her cry.
no, I'm not gonna cry. No,
no.
even though I do make those critiques, I gotta remember when this was made. When it was made, it was probably kind of a groundbreaking thing to talk about cloning. It was emerging science, and that's one of the things that Star Trek does well.
Mhm.
And I'm also kind of disturbed about a race of plant people who want to take control of the galaxy
You would
without
be.
without any supervision except for giant Spock. So I think they
Giant
need more.
Spock is the most ridiculous part of the whole episode.
And now there's always a giant Spock in Star Trek, no matter what, because we don't know how many clones are being made. So during TNG, they're just
You know the last time that they mentioned Giant Spock? You know where they did that? Lower decks.
no, I hate that because they just climb all over him without even referencing Giant Spock. They just climb on his bones as if it's nothing. Who cares about Giant Spock now? Not Lower Decks.
Oh my
Well,
stars.
you gotta remember, Lower Decks is
Fuck
a
them.
member-berry show and a parody for Star Trek.
Yeah.
I agree
I'm
with
not gonna
you, Hungry
remember that.
Boy. I agree with
I
Hungry
don't like
Boy.
it. Okay,
If
I'm
if
gonna
you
get
get
mad
more
if I
than
think about
if you
Lower
get more
Decks. I'm
than
sorry.
I love Lower Decks.
Don't get mad at a cartoon.
I'm mad at it.
Lower Decks is so
You're
fun.
mad at
It's so
it.
fun and funny. I love Lower Decks.
I'm glad somebody does
Yeah.
and I wanted
because
to
I think
say,
it's disrespectful.
and I agree with what Hungry Boy says. If Jill giggles more than 10 times, it's a fabulous episode. I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
And
and I'm
I
sorry. I apologize for cursing on your channel, Pop Culture. I got
I
mad.
didn't
So
hear her curse. I didn't even notice if you did.
I
Hey,
did twice in a
hey
row.
Jill, you've
Oh,
been the
shame on
politest
you.
person all night. You've been the politest of all of us all night.
And
Okay.
there's our poll, as you can see, everybody. We have
Yeah,
3 votes as of closing,
yeah.
so that's
Okay.
not too
Um,
So
bad.
I rated it. I gave this episode an
oh
F
wait,
just
wait,
for
wait.
the.
I didn't finish my rating. Wait. I
Right, I
gave it
want
a
Jill to review it.
because of that. How many times I laugh, how much I enjoy it, even though I have those problems with a eugenics based culture being able to just hang out. But even with all of that stuff, I still give this one a C. I like it. I like it. I know it's ridiculous and terrible, but I love it.
all right.
Okay,
So
okay. Now you can start over, Gorilla.
go ahead, Gorilla.
Okay, just for that one line, completed F. They took that line out or switched it to mind melt. I give this episode an A because it's entertaining, even though it did feel like a bad acid trip watching your weed talk to you.
Well, smoke some weed and watch it again. Just kidding. I'm not trying to condone or advertise any illegal substance or
Yes,
YouTube,
whatever
kids,
you
do
this
are.
is
not.
all a joke. It's for fun and poking fun at a show. It's all it is. We apologize, YouTube.
Right. And on the other case, if you smoke them, if you smoke them, if you got them, or however the term goes.
I love Hungry Boy's rating.
Ungrateful.
What can I say?
uh,
People love it when Jill giggles.
and I gave it an A. I'm because I laughed watching it and I
Mhm.
cherish it. I remember watching it as a kid, and as an adult, I have a completely different outlook about it now. So I enjoyed it. I give it an A, not an A plus, not an A minus, but an A.
Like an F minus. It's so stupid.
But it had heart.
It
Well,
had heart, and I like to see the smaller characters get a little
And
few
it
more
tried
lines.
and it tried to put the smaller characters got more lines, and it tried to put science in it. It tried to bring up a new topic that it wasn't talked about back then. And
I did like the interaction between Uhura and Scotty. I thought that that was a nice bridge, sort of. What are you doing? I'm doing this. Well, that's dangerous. Yeah, well, I know it better than you. And it
Well,
was it was something that wasn't an adversarial interaction between Uhura and Scotty. It was just them being professional, which I really enjoyed. That was a good moment.
yes, and the Star Trek characters, even with all of the silliness going around them, they're still professionals, like you say. And so that's always a plus for me. It's
Hmm.
when the Starfleet officers don't behave the way they should that I can't enjoy the episode.
Well, speaking of which, tomorrow we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of Starfleet officers who don't act like they're doing their jobs.
It's true. Tomorrow, we're going to have a review of The Naked Time on my show, on my channel at
How
It's
many
pronounced
noon.
the naked time.
how many times did they rehash that for the
Naked
future Star
times.
Trek?
Well, they rehash it for TNG's The Naked Now.
Right?
Hmm.
Is that it?
The naked now.
Well, if that was the only time, then that's great. Because I had the feeling that it was more than once that they rehashed it. But
For
if it's only
some
once,
reason,
that's good.
For some reason, Jill thinks the pronunciation of the word naked, if you say it naked, it's dirtier. She's really afraid of it. She won't say it.
I think it's because it's spelled an A instead of an E.
Well, no, naked. Like, is naked that much dirtier than naked?
No, it's just
Well,
not spelled with an E,
right,
just like
naked.
Pop Culture
Right,
said. Like if you put an E in it, then yeah, I'll say
naked sounds
naked.
like Necked,
Well, no, it's Nekkid. Naked.
which is misspelled.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I didn't say I could spell.
Okay,
Right.
Anyway,
it's
moving on.
slang.
But
It's slang, I would say.
I love Hungry Boy's rating for this episode. He rates it an A for asparagus.
Asparaguses.
And he says, imagine how Raquel would adore a crossover between Star Trek Animated and Rocket Robin Hood.
Oh, I would totally be into that. That would be great.
Who's Rocket Robin Hood?
Rocket Robin Hood is in the 23rd century, and he is on the planet of Sherwood, and he is Robin Hood. He has a jetpack. He is Rocket Robin Hood. You've never heard of it? Look it up. It's on
Is that an
Google.
older series, a newer
Yes,
series?
it is by the same animators of Filmation, who did
Okay.
Star Trek the Animated Series and the
He-Man, the Masters of the
Spider-Man.
Universe. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, shoulder to shoulder. Oh, my stars. If you don't know Rocket Robin Hood, I highly recommend it.
There's a wonderful documentary on Filmation that I will cover next week, and I will be posting the link. That I really suggest everybody check it out. It goes through the founding of it, the two founders, the small struggle because they were an independent animation company. Next thing you know, they had a bunch of huge projects dumped in their laps, down to the point where they had to sell the studio because all the other studios were shipping their animation out overseas. So the ending was kind of heartbroken. But yeah, there's a wonderful pilot or a documentary out there on YouTube. Like I said, I'll share the link next week.
Nice. Oh,
And
the magics of Megas 2.
yes, in the chat, did anybody have any comment they'd like to share with us before we show our teaser for next week, or not, or possibly? I guess they
Well,
probably
I just
already had
wanted to
their
say
opportunity.
thanks to Hungry for being here, and thanks for being part of the conversation, yo.
Yes, thank you, Hungry. I really appreciate it. And I know Dalek was here. I know Captain was here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hungry. I appreciate it. Always the best.
Absolutely. If you guys like what you saw, please click the like button, subscribe,
Hmm.
notification bell, click on that, and share this out. I don't have a lot of people that are aware of it yet. And by the way, this is my first live stream on Twitch. So I'm going to be
Hey, hi,
simultaneously,
Twitchers.
yeah, I'll be simultaneously broadcasting on Twitch. I'm getting away from Facebook. It's all spam these days. So I'm not really going to focus on Facebook much anymore.
That's fair. I got away from Facebook and then I went back to it just for YouTube. It's really weird.
Well, I'll use Facebook maybe to contact people, Messenger, or if
Right.
somebody messages me. But the homepage or whatever it's called on Facebook, every other post is an ad now. And I don't do that. I don't
Oh no, I
subscribe
don't
to
look
that.
at the timeline. That's
Well,
ridiculous.
I
I don't
get
have
it.
enough friends on my new account.
Yeah, I
to
gave
look
up
at.
on
Exactly.
Facebook here because as soon as they let me out of Facebook jail, they throw me back in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped all over your your joke there.
Yeah. No, I'm dead serious here. If they gave out medals for Facebook jail there, I'd look like a North Korean general.
Hmm.
And hungry to see Johnny Storm be funny again says, "My pleasure, guys. Thanks for doing a series on one of my top 5 animated shows. You are very welcome, Hungry Boy."
Well,
Yeah,
and
you're
thank you, pop culture curator, for sort of even though I've been sort of taking the piss out of this, even seeing a bad one is still great. So thanks.
No problem. I don't know if Scotty, if you dropped out for a couple seconds or if it was me on my side, but I lost out for a couple seconds,
It
but
was
I do
Scotty.
appreciate that. It was
Yeah,
Scotty.
yeah, it was Scotty. He
Yeah,
dropped
because
out. But yes, thank you for giving us a
I
platform
was,
to talk about the show.
yeah, I was just saying thank you for being able to talk about Star Trek, and this is new Star Trek that I hadn't seen before, and
I
so
wish I was watching this for the first time. You're so lucky.
I know he is very
ah,
lucky. I
not
agree.
not on this episode.
But okay, I don't know. I guess I just enjoy it more,
But I
and
was
so I get
expecting
it.
stinkers. I was expecting
You were
stinkers.
expecting this. This was
Yeah.
what you were expecting.
And it took 7 episodes to get here. So
Mhm.
it's really, really good. Like, I'm just so happy with it. And now I finally got the cheese ball. And it's like, fine. Okay.
Mhm. And also, wouldn't remember? I don't think I need to remind Hungry, who's probably the only one in the chat, to check out Clobbering Times. Right now, he's doing his Monday Mark C Comics talk. So make sure to check him out.
Jill, is there anything you'd like to share about your channel while we're here?
Yes, I think I already mentioned that tomorrow we'll be reviewing The Nick in Time
Hey, you said it.
at noon Central.
Noon Central tomorrow, everybody. So please try
Yes.
to be there. And on Friday, you have what?
And on Friday, I'm going to have a open topic show. Might talk about Star Trek Five. I think that might
Hey,
be a
you
fun
gotta talk
topic.
about Louise Fletcher.
Oh yes, of course, Louise Fletcher. We'll definitely talk about her, and
Yeah,
we're
but it was
talking
right.
the actress for Kai Wynn for sure.
Right. I didn't realize until I saw Bird's video on her that I didn't know she was in Trek. I loved her from her movies and all her everything other than Trek. But
Yeah, she was
hearing that
a
she was in
space
a Trek
marine.
as a right as a bad guy on Trek, I think that's wonderful. She did
Yeah, she was fantastic. She was a great villain
well.
in
It was yeah. It was funny to hear Bird describe that he hated it. That she did such a good job. He hated her, the actress, at first
hmm
until he realized. Which that just shows you how convincing she is. But
right.
she was also in a great '80s sci-fi movie called Strange Invaders, which I'll recommend with Nancy Allen from RoboCop. And she also did Brainstorm with Natalie Wood. It was Natalie Wood's very last movie. She drowned while filming the movie. They had to complete it without her.
Oh my goodness.
And she plays a good guy in Brainstorm. She plays a scientist. It's around 1980, early '80s when Natalie Wood drowned, and it covers like a pre-VR sort of concept. So yeah, I recommend Strange Invaders and Brainstorm among others if you can find them. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all
Ju-
right. I'll be using this live stream as reference for my Friday show.
okay. And Scotty, tell us about your channel.
Well, interesting things happening. So, Wednesday we're going to be doing Kill Bill Volume 2. Things are changing with my opinions on Kill Bill. And so it's going to be an interesting stream. It's going to be me and Kat and Black Phillip Alvarez. On Thursday, we're going to be talking about episodes. Oh, what are they? 7 and 8 of Quantum Leap, but we're doing that at noon Central, so 1 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be our Quantum Leap show. And why would you do a Quantum Leap show at a regular time? You leap. And then yeah, no, we're going to talk about Star Trek 5 on Friday. And yeah, like my dance card is full, but I am so happy to talk with so many people who are interesting and awesome. So I'm happy to be a bad penny.
Yes, and the show for Quantum Leap is early because I've got an away mission to that night.
Yeah,
And he's talking about the original Quantum Leap people, not the new one.
that's right.
Well, actually, um, He is exclusively watching the new one, and then he tells me about it for 5 minutes, and then we talk about the real quantum leap.
Yeah,
The
I
real
just
quantum leap. So that tells me all I need to know.
yeah. Oh no, and also I would like to say that currently right now while I'm talking to you, I am 26 minutes late to seeing the new episode of
And
Quantum Leap.
you're by no means obligated to watch the new one.
Right.
This is just if you want
I don't
to.
really care. I'm really enjoying watching the old one. I like the
Yeah.
original series.
You just played at 10 times the speed. And I want to say, hungry boy. There, I totally agree with you. Hungry boy is familiar apparently with the movie Strange Invaders as well as the movie Brainstorm. So yeah, go for you, hungry boy. And
Nice.
I tried to get my Stream Element bot to post links to your guys' channel, and it didn't work once again. So I
Oh,
got to go
right.
back to the.
I could do that.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my. I think my Stream Element bot is still on strike or something. Or
Yeah, it's worthless. Right, there's Gorilla's link.
and now,
Um,
Gorilla, tell us about your channel and what you have to share.
Well, most of my streams are at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, except for Saturday, or if I do some late night streams there. Like I've been doing a few late night Minecraft streams, except Tuesday I'm gonna be introducing pop culture here to Star Trek Online. But otherwise, every Wednesday we do Babylon or Beyond Belief. When that ends, we're going to be going to we're going to watch the 6 episodes of That Awkward Game Show. Then on this Thursday, I'm defending 30 Days from Voyager. There, if anybody wants to join on that one. Then Saturday will be Babylon 5. We're in season 2. And Sunday, I'm still figuring out a movie for that.
Okay, that sounds great.
Gremlins.
well, that's a Christmas movie, though. It's
Fair enough. You got a good point. You got a good
Halloween's
point.
coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say we're
Well,
getting into Halloween,
well,
but
Halloween,
Gorilla doesn't like a lot of gore, so it has to be
well,
something relatively safe.
Well, I got a special movie I'm gonna be doing for Halloween. There, it's the only movie that's been filmed in my hometown that's actually made it to the big screen. It's
What
Not
called
about
giant.
Candyman?
It's not the
it,
giant spider invasion, is it?
no, it's called Loon Lake. It's based on an urban legend. And the guy who made it moved out to L.A. about 15 years ago. He was originally from here, and he made a film based on an urban legend about this gal named Mary Jane. I showed you to you one night, pop culture.
Well, yeah, you showed me the trailer when I got copyright struck, which made no sense. But that's okay because I bought it and won. They took it off.
Yeah, so yeah,
That's
we're gonna be
great.
watching that the Sunday before Halloween,
I
which
am
is
I
a
the
did.
huge
30th.
fan of scary movies. I
I
could
just
go on
got
and on and
this.
on with a list of movies.
I just got this movie called X,
You
and
mean
I'm
X
looking forward
about
to seeing it.
the alien?
No, it's about a group of people who go to the middle of nowhere in sort of like a farm or a cabin situation, and they're there to make a an adult film, and then horrible things ensue. It's very gory, very graphic. I haven't seen it yet. I'm afraid of the movie, but I did buy it on Blu-ray, so I will watch it. I was recommended it by a good friend, and I'm gonna watch it. And I'm probably gonna watch it with between my fingers. You know when you like cover your eyes, but you're faking it because you're gonna look anyway. I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be fun.
I'm looking at it now. It does look interesting. I had not heard of it. It's a fairly recent
It's
movie, and it's done by A24. They usually do pretty good movies.
yeah. So yeah, and that's next on my list.
It has somebody. It stars Mia Goth. Her last name is literally Goth. Goth.
Hmm. Which is hot.
That's interesting. I appreciate that. Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we, or is there anything that I missed before we show next
Um,
week's trailer?
Oh, yes, I have next week's trailer here, but I don't know if there's anything you missed. I think we're good. right?
Oh no, one more thing, one more thing. If you are a Star Trek fan, I would highly recommend you go and check out Confess Fletch, because at the end of that movie, Robert Picardo is in it. And so if you are a fan of Robert Picardo, obviously played the holographic doctor in Voyager, I would say you should go and see Confess Fletch, because Robert Picardo is in it.
I like Robert Picardo. So let me ask one question. I take it Chevy Chase didn't even do a cameo or nothing, right?
No, and didn't
Okay.
need to.
Well, well, I probably agree with that. He's not doing so hot these days.
I celebrate Chevy Chase.
I like his classic stuff, but I don't like what he did to the vacation. That last movie was, well, it's a different subject for a different day.
True story.
And he supposedly has a really bad attitude in real life.
So do I.
There you go, Tiger. And Hungry, once again, I want to thank you for your chat. You're in live in chat. It's a blast. I really appreciate you being here. Cool. It sounds like something Raquel might like too. Says Antiderivative Jill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said that in the chat because I didn't know if you were going to read that. He said that Hungry has a creepy sci-fi 60s film for me,
That's
for
cool.
to share in the watch party room on Cosme for
Well,
October.
cool. Let us know when that day comes. I'll like to check it out. I like 60s creepy sci-fi.
Cool. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Cool. And that's all.
That's
Okay.
it.
And okay. So, is there anything anybody else would like to add before we close this with the trailer? No.
You know,
Okay.
support your local sheriff, I guess.
Well, here's what I have to say: is I want to thank everybody in the chat personally. I appreciate everybody you being here. If you like what you saw, please support the people on the panel. We have Anti-Derivative Jill. Check out her channel. Check out Scotty R37's channel. Also, check out Gorilla's Random Thoughts. They are wonderful, fabulous YouTubers with excellent content to share. If you like what you see here or what you've seen today, check out some of the other videos on my channel. I think you might like those as well. And before we leave, I just wanted to say thank you to all of the panel. Once again, I thank the chat and I want to thank everybody here on the panel. Thank you guys for being here and making this such a wonderful time.
I'm
Yeah, no
sorry if I
problem.
swore too much.
You're okay.
I think that swearing was least of his concerns on that one. I think he's more worried about the other comments.
Well, it's
Yeah,
funny.
well,
Jill said she swore twice, but coming from her, I wouldn't be able to tell because she has such a sweet voice. So I really didn't even notice.
I didn't know I could get away with it like that. Interesting to
oh,
know.
oh no, you have get out of jail free card when it comes to swears, Jill. Your voice is melodic. Swears are like wiping your ass with silk.
I need to go back and find that scene and make it short.
Hey,
It's such a rarity for Jill. You just don't hear that. It's funny.
Scotty, you gave me a new favorite saying there.
Well, I stole it from Matrix Reloaded.
Who?
The second Matrix movie.
Oh,
Good night, Delic. I know
Good
it's
night.
late for you.
I
Good
didn't have
night,
a lot to
Alec.
watch.
Good night, Dalek.
I think it's like in the middle of the night for him, isn't it, or like early morning or something crazy.
Hungry.
I agree with you, Hungry Boy. Hungry Boy says when Jill cusses, it sounds like dewdrops falling from rose petals.
I think you got some fans there, Jill.
Well, I don't drop those curse words without reason or
Well,
Well,
without
I
cause.
consider myself lucky and blessed for that, then, Jill. Thank you.
Yes. Somebody
well,
triggered me with lower decks.
well,
That's
no,
all it takes, then.
exactly.
Start talking more lower decks, guys. No, just kidding.
I talk about it so much.
I
I'm
love
blocked on Twitter by Jill. It's crazy.
No, you're not.
I thought I was. Anyway,
Now,
can we well, now you requested it.
So,
All right.
and lastly, Jill's going to show the trailer for upcoming the next animated episode we will cover next Monday. Everybody, if you're here on the panel or in the chat, please remember to join us tomorrow on Antiderivative Jill's channel
For the
we
naked
cover-
time.
All right, for the Naked Time, the TOS episode.
Yeah, see you all next time, everybody. Thank you.
For the naked
Thank you,
time.
Jill. I really appreciate it.
Naked time.
In this incredible universe, it appears to be a part of the natural laws that belief is as potent a force as energy and matter are in our own. Our universe.
Oh, a bit of a delay. That happens.
Naked
Yeah,
time.
this is the channel that has these trailers, but for some reason it gets delayed sometimes. I don't know why that happens.
No, this is my favorite show. I love it when I see the Ouroboros.
I will download the clips and have them, and I'll send them to you, Jill, so you have them on your hard drive.
It
Well,
just chases
I could
itself.
download these clips and I could send them to, or if you have the clips anyway, you could play them.
It's just chasing and trying to catch the other side of it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, look
How
at
does
it.
work?
It's like a race.
Getting upset. Okay.
I thought I did
13.
have them somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly where off the top of my head.
Oh, I like the old show.
Ugh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna stop the screen. I'm gonna find a different one.
Yeah.
Well, if you're unable to, that's fine.
But I want to see it.
Well, so do I. I agree with that. But
I was really hoping that this show would be over so I could go get a burger.
Well, you'll be able
I'll-
to do that in just a second.
I'll have to wait. Okay, thanks, Jill.
good night, Hungry. So good to have you here.
Fine, I'll sit.
And I will find the video
Okay,
files. I'll have them
for now-
next week. Just in
Yeah,
case.
now it's working. I didn't understand.
Says you. I haven't seen the video. Oh.
Okay, let me share my screen here.
Okay. Here we go. It's gonna work this time. If it doesn't work, we'll just quit.
Okay.
Let's try it. Let's
Ah.
start it over.
Captain's Log Supplemental. In this incredible universe, it appears to be a part of the natural laws that belief is as potent a force as energy and matter are in our own. Our universe operates by what you superstitiously call magic. What are you doing? Learning to protect ourselves, Lucian. Protect yourselves? Lucian, do something. Chip, we need oxygen. Emergency battery power. All systems are dead.